Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's fine once I get archers. Yeah.
When I can shoot, it's fine.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to The Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Let me just switch this camera a little bit. There we go. Hello, welcome to The Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. I'm joined by the Owen Jackson for the Age of Sigmar Stat Center. Bush. Big high five.
Pow.
Loved it. Yeah, pal. Owen, welcome to the show. Really lovely to see you. How are you this fine day?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm brought to you in conjunction with blinding North London sunshine today. So apologies to all the viewers. But yeah, they're my new sponsor. They always fucking crop up about midday on a Monday, just when I'm about to talk to you all about Warhammer for a bit. And it's really annoying. So yeah, but aside from that, I'm very well. I've
Good.
been writing
I would like
lists,
everyone to get their
painting.
Owen fans. I want everyone to get their Owen fans in the chat. I've seen that already. No, I want to hear about your day. I want to thank Professor Mort for resubscribing. You're brilliant, and all the Twitch chat for being here. But carry on. What have you been doing? What have you been up to?
Oh, hold on a second. I need to say that it's my 30-month sub. So yeah, big shout out to Owen Jackson in the chat there with his 30-month sub. Wow, that was fucking weird, wasn't it?
Well done, Owen. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude. Oh, damn it! I haven't even sent it. There we go. Send. Anyway, no, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm all right. I think I've been doing a few bits of looking at the hobby in the whole. So I've been writing some lists. I've written some really substandard Caradron Overlords lists that don't have any boats in. I've written some Slanesh lists, Legion of Chaos Ascendant Slanesh impact hit lists, which was a waste of time. And I sold an army, and I've done some painting. Yeah.
Wow,
so,
that's a lot. What army did you sell?
I sold my Daughters of Cain army.
Wow, big stonks.
Yeah, because I've never played it. I played it once, and yeah, I'm not really in love with it. And somebody really wanted the Daughters of Cain army, and I thought, okay, yeah, you get that on the table. Better on the table than in a box in my nerd room, eh? So,
100%.
And yeah. There's a cathartic element to selling stuff, because there's always a lot of pressure on you to paint your stuff and build your stuff and don't buy any more and all that jazz. So it's nice to clear some room out and make room for some more. So that's me. Yeah. Also, I've been helping out Darren with his battle tome, the Nomad Feast Masters. I don't know if that's
got a front cover now.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the little playtest pamphlet. So I'm just working so hard to try and get him a pamphlet ready, which just has like allegiance abilities, traits, artifacts, mount traits, spells, and all the war scrolls, so everyone can have a play around with it. But yeah, I think I've talked enough, Rob. How the devil are you, sir?
Wow, I mean, to be honest, you could talk all day and I'd listen. I'd literally just sit here as you're like, hey, Rob, I'm going to start telling you about disco tracks I'd like. I'd be like, let me just pull up a chair because I'm ready to be here for 8 to 9 hours and I'm super okay with it. Yeah, Owen Jackson, everyone. Love having him here. I'm great. Thanks for asking. I did 2 shows yesterday, obviously, so that was super fun. Me and Scrivs just had a chat. It was nice. Big deep dive into some 40k WTC stuff. Had Piotr on, who is such a good pairings guy for the Polish for 40k that they hired him one time so that he wouldn't go and work for anyone else. Yeah, just to do pairings. So fascinating. Like, if you guys want to go back and listen to team format, obviously something I'm mega interested in. I know you're mega interested in it as well. Really enjoyed listening to that last night. So generally pretty good. Had a tooth cut out of my skull, but I'm feeling good. And ultimately, one of my favourite shows of the week doing today. Very excited. Tonight we're doing a show on ogres. So we're going to do the kind of like consistent units that you see from an ogre army and deep dive in it, which will be super fun to talk about. And I think Dan's back. So yeah, man. And other than that, printed some Necron terrain. So got started on that. So, and then lots of painting to do. You seem to think I will not finish my boards in time, but how dare you, sir? I am going to smash this project. That's what I'm going to do. And then obviously we've got Sunday to look forward to. So it's the birthday week. Congratulations, Twitch chat. Thank you for being here. We have got, this is our birthday week. This is our first year birthday, so we get to celebrate all week. So it's going to be super fun. Saturday, big reveal day. Sunday, big birthday party. Weekend of Warhammer. Let's go. Weekend of Warhammer. Wow.
So does our Monday mean, we could have the hangover special stat center, like the post party. We're all just like, man.
You're in a dressing gown with a chip butty.
Just
I'm
like
in.
an insane amount of full fat Coke everywhere. Just like, okay. I think I've got enough energy. Let's go. Okay, cool. Right, I'm in.
Right,
Sweet.
so yeah, but today, so I'm great. Thanks for asking. Really love seeing everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. Big love to you. I see you're all like in the chat. I've missed anything you've said recently, so big love. Because I mainly was staring at Owen. But today we've got two tournaments to talk about from this weekend, both happening in Australia, which is really exciting. So this is fun. There's almost too much information, Owen. Almost too much information to take the information in, is what I'd say. Thanks to Stu for subscribing and HMS Banksy. Oh, that's lovely. Good start to the day. That's all lovely of you. Thanks for subscribing. Owen, you did that as well. That's lovely of you. Right, all right. So the two events that happened this weekend was the Vic GT and the SAGT. We're going to go through these in order. There's also some other stuff to talk about, ongoing tournaments like the Butchers and some other stuff. So loads of stuff to break down. Should we start with the Vic GT, Owen? Is that what you fancy, or?
I don't mind. Yeah, why not? It's top of the shop there, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
at the top of our notes. So yeah, we can do that. I think one thing that was interesting just to note as an overall, because well, two things actually. Wasn't it Australia Day? Is that what it was this weekend? Is that why there were so many big tournaments, or am I getting that wrong?
No, Australia Day is way earlier in the year.
Okay.
Is it? No, because what we're in March. Yeah, it's like February time. January, February time. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't think it is.
I think I'm wrong.
Because I'm in a few WhatsApp chats with Australians, and not one of them has said Happy Australia Day, cunt. So like,
there we go. Send Gaming. Maybe I'm just having there's a glitch in the matrix. Okay, well, forget about that then. So, but basically, there seemed to be quite a few similarities between the two different events, just in terms of like the mission pack, and the actual missions that were chosen and the rounds and things of that nature. So I just thought we should put a pin in that. In terms of no auxiliary objectives across either event, Rob. Just straight up, and no minors, just straight up win, lose, draw. And another thing, I mean, maybe because people do consider it to be one of the better missions and it always crops up, but no scorched earth in either tournament, Rob, which I'm
disappointed in that. It's my favourite battle plan. I think it's the best one. But yeah, I can. I don't even see why, because I think actually it splits the field really nice. I think it like really promotes different styles of play. I think it's like a genuinely good, it's knife to the heart. I know was at the Vic GT, which I think is just a brilliant objective. Shifting objectives, actually, I've changed my mind on shifting objectives. I used to not be into it, but like I think it's much better now, actually. But it's still random. Hate the Blade's Edge. Hate it forever and ever. Like, I think that's a super polarizingly bad mission. But no secondaries. Maybe that's a consistent theme. I think ultimately it doesn't really matter. Age of Sigmar 3 round the corner. Like, I don't think the trend, if it is a set trend, is going to really matter come whatever the new edition is. Because I'm pretty certain whatever the new edition sort of like gameplay-wise is going to be, we'll see baked-in secondaries like we see in 40k. And very much like the auxiliaries have been a thing that they've been slowly pushing over time with the GHBs anyway. So more than likely they're going to be hard-coded into whatever scoring system we end up with. So, like, I'm fine with that. Like, at this point, everyone wants to just get out and roll their dice. So I kind of think that that's a big vibe this weekend as well for the Australians, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it makes the TO's life a little bit easier. There's less granularity to it. I think that the strength of schedule ended up being the thing that split up people on the same amount of points. And another thing, Rob, this is a little bit of TTS. I don't know if it is, but I get the sense it's a little bit of TTS bleeding into real life, which is 3-hour rounds at the Vic GT. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like, it's an interesting conversation, right? I think if your weekend, so when I first did the timing for the Super Series, one of my suggestions was, I was like, just 3-hour rounds, an hour break in between. Everyone was like, that'll be a super long day. And I was like, what does it really matter? Like, whether you finish at 7:30 or 9. Like, do you know what I mean? You can still go get dinner, have a sleep, or go out for some beers, whatever you want to do. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like you can just go 3-hour, hour. I think there's only some people who are being fairly precious, and they're like, well, I want to be gone at like 4:30 on a Sunday, and I get it, but I sometimes feel like you're pandering to a more vocal crowd, and a lot of other people will be like, cool, just give me an hour break and give me a longer round so I can be a bit more chill. And I personally think I'm there for it. I think that's better. Like, there's a lot of games that are like, I don't think the game mechanically has anything that's changed that needs it to be longer rounds. I just think longer rounds are fine. Like, I would rather be given a 15 minutes so I could have a more relaxed game with my opponent than feel like the game is forcing us to rush, basically. As long as everyone finishes 5 rounds. I would like 3-hour rounds, but then I'd be like, you didn't finish your game. 0 points, and here's a bucket of cold water, yeah, and some flour.
Shame.
And a bell. Shame.
A couple of people in the chat saying 3-hour rounds have been used in Oz for a while, and Marcus saying 3-hour rounds in the last tournament here in France. So, yeah, I would prefer. I like a 3-hour round if it means that your opponent spends 15 minutes properly explaining their army at the start, because sometimes you're motivated to get the game going quickly, and then you get gotcha'd on round 4, in the 4th battle round or something with something. And I think the game, I don't know, is the game more complicated than it has been historically?
I mean, then historically, yes. Like obviously, it's the most complicated it has ever been. But do I think it's complicated enough that you can finish the game? Not at all. Like we don't have the level of like turn-by-turn micromanagement that you see in 40k, as an example. Like, you're checking your primaries, you're checking your secondaries, you're like collating points. There's a lot going on there. So maybe like it will be, and maybe it'll get even more complicated. I don't know. I personally think 3-hour rounds is a good decision. Like, I'm for it. I think I'm pro it. Have you got like a yes/no answer to it? Do you think?
Yes. If we're going binary, then yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yes, Vic GT, the headline. If this was a newspaper, we'd be holding the headline, and it's Lachlan McQuinn wins the Victorian GT with a Fangs of Sotek list and the only player to go 5-0. That's your headline.
It's a good headline. Mainly because of who won it. Like, so have you heard any information about Lachlan at the minute? Because I got some stuff on this yesterday.
I know that he's big friends with Pask, and I believe that it's like a 1-year anniversary between playing his first tournament and playing this tournament, getting the win. So
it is, and he also sounds like, and I was stalking him a bit just this morning. He went a year ago with Gitz, went 4-1 versus pre-nerf Sanesh, which is so like we should have known then that if you give this dangerous individual an actual army to play with, he'll end up smashing face. Chris CB in the chat says his club mind. He's a legend. Faces and Bases, thanks for resubscribing. So I actually think like amazing result for him, because obviously and also really nice to see someone new. Like, because I did the list review show on Friday. A deadly field of armies, at least. Like, just a horrifying amount of, like, Tzeentch, Daughters of Cain, Seraphon, even Fireslayers. It was a tough field. And so, yeah, like, really impressed with the win. But it's also with a very, very strong army. But, like, I mean, Lachlan's got to be over the moon.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to be a bit conscious of I know that there's been some comments on some of the YouTube videos and stuff, just people feeling like their army's getting shit on, or I don't know, it's easy mode or whatever. But you still have to, even if it's a really good list and really good army, you can still, there are a lot of people taking good armies this weekend across the 2 tournaments, going 1 and 4 with the top tier army, going 2 and 3 with what a lot of people consider to be broken. So, getting the 5-0, across, I've got a list here of what he's beaten. So he beat Nighthaunt with triple black coach on shifting objectives. He beat.
All right. So game 1 was a pass. Okay.
Robin. Then he beat Gristlegore Flesh Eater Courts on forcing the hand, which again is probably favourable.
It's a good matchup for Seraphon, yeah.
Then he played into Arthur Vulgaris, who's a very good OBR player with the Mortis Praetorians list on Knife to the Heart. So he was able to get a major win on Knife to the Heart against Mortis. I know he's got a block of 40, Mortek Guard in that list, a couple of catapults. So, then he beat a Change Host in round 4, Eternal Conflagration, and then he beat Dave Kerr with his Knights of the Empty Throne. So, maybe in the early rounds he had a couple of good matchups, but OBR, Zinch, and the Plague Touch Slaves to Darkness, those are sort of 3 pretty good, 4-1 lists or 5-0 lists that you'd expect.
Yeah. And Dave's a solid player, and he's also playing into a meta with an army he understands and knows. So it's not like Seraphon was his first outing ultimately. So yeah, like Lackland's gone through a smasher, and has done a great job. And like Stephen's saying in the chat, the second best Lizards at the event went 3-2. So lots to unpack about that information, I would say. Also, just put a pin in, this is a weekend's worth of results. I don't want to be that guy, but you can make the data really generate information for yourself. If you pick arbitrary numbers, I don't know, if you look at the top 20 results, 14% would 83% were destruction, so they're the best. Why are you picking from the top 20? Sometimes you're picking the numbers to produce the story that you want is a good conversation to have. But ultimately, I called it on Friday. I was like, Seraphon are taking it out. It didn't matter who, but it's nice that Lackland did it. So a big congratulations. Because it's nice seeing someone new with that level of passion and then it being rewarded. I think that's excellent. So super lovely, and also some tough matchups. Ultimately towards the end.
And the list had his own little flavour. He's got if I give you the list now, so we're talking Fangs of Sotek, Croak, Astrolith Bearer, Star Priest, Skink Priest. Nothing different there. But then he's got a cheeky Celestant Prime in there. And then 40 Skinks, 10 Skinks, 10 Skinks, 3 Salamanders, 10 Camos, Balewind, Baron Geminids. So apart from the Prime, which you might see replaced perhaps with some more Sallies or bump up those units of Skinks, it's pretty... that's very solid. I do like the Prime. I think that there are better choices in the actual book, though, to stack buffs on and stuff. But the Prime, even if it's a threat, like a drop-down threat, you see the Prime in Dracothian's Tale more than you do in Fangs. But he's that extra bit. But also, he can be quite good to just use as a sort of missile battery with his shooting attack, because it's some more D3 mortal wounds in an AoE, isn't it? And when you he
buddies up with Croak so incredibly well, so incredibly well, just because of Comet's Call, not even because of Deliverance. So just the mortal wound bunker. Thanks Chuckabutty for resubscribing for 40 months, you little babe. The Prime, 40 months sounds like a long time. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wow, we've been live that long. That's mental. The Prime in the Comet's Call. If you guys don't know, Comet's Call obviously is the global mortal wound spell you can get either on a Slan or on Croak. So then being able to do that plus the mortal wounds from the Prime, which is at 24 inches, right? So that's pretty significant. You can just pop characters out pretty easy and reduce the units and how effective they are. I feel like that would have played super well into Zinch, and I think that would have played super well into Knights of the Empty Throne as well, taking out the support characters and shutting them down. I think that's quite interesting. And also the Prime slaps if he wants to. He can go away and probably definitely kill most of a really solid unit, in the right situation. So I can totally see the inclusion. I can see why. Yeah.
Also, Seraphon. You saw it with Darren at the Super Series. He's an excellent player, Darren Watson, obviously, but he played a Fangs list and he had Gotrek in there. So it's almost as if, you can create these Seraphon lists at 1,400, 1,600, 1,800, 1,700 points and then just sprinkle in a little bit extra, just flavor to taste.
Just whatever you want. Yeah. Well, big congratulations to Lackland on that one. And then, in my opinion, having done this now for 3 years, the best way to look at everything after this is not what is the top 5, because you can really duke the stats in that situation. Not what is the top 10 or what's the top 14 or something weird. You next just look at the 4-1 bracket. I think that gives you the best example. Or you go 5-0 bracket, which we've just discussed. Only Lackland did that, and then you go 4-1 bracket. That's the right way to look at it. Everything else, I personally think you're trying to manipulate the numbers. 4-1, and then in the 4-1 bracket, we had an interesting 4-1. Owen, interesting 4-1 bracket.
I think, it's quite a big bracket. I suppose it is 70 players here. So we had, I did a few little notes, just kind of the way in which the missions were set up. So shifting objectives, forcing the hand, knife to the heart, total conquest, and battle for the pass are our missions. I do think that the kind of things that would do well in that there's a general theme. So I'll tell you what, I won't go through every single thing, but I'll just give you the snapshot for the sort of types of armies that we've got. Mm-hmm. So in the top, all the 4 ones, we have 2 Teleporty Calibron list, Daughters of Cain list. The Corey's Gambit list. The last,
and they're still the old DOK book, which, by the way, I saw some criticism in the chat, is 100% the right decision. You wait until the new FAQ, even if the old book was broken as hell. You wait till the FAQ, and that's when you put the new book in. Great decision by the Vic GT organisers. Really pro that. I'll support them. Anyone who's like, oh, I can't believe they're still running it, I'm against you, and I'm for the Vic GT guys. Great decision, like having that in. So that's still the old DOK book doing the teleport and the Corey's Gambit, which we talked about loads, right?
Yep, absolutely. So Corey going out on a high there. As a side note, so Corey came second and Michael Clark came third, both with these Daughters of Cain Calibron lists, and they drew each other on Knife to the Heart, which gave them the one draw that denied their 5-0. So with a slightly different draw, you could have very much seen these Daughters of Cain lists both go 5-0. So a little note on that. Another list that's a similar archetype in terms of high mobility, teleports, shooting output. Is Alexander Kron there in 10th with a 4-1 with the KO Zilfin. Can Kron, as he's known. So Marcus Rock just saying in there, who did Corey lose to? Corey didn't lose. Corey and Michael Clark played out a Daughters of Cain Calibron teleporty mirror on Knife to the Heart, which have been a really interesting mission. So that's one archetype that did well. High mobility, shooting output, teleports, the Alexander Kron, he lost to Michael Clark in round 5. So that was the Daughters of Cain Calibron beat the KO on Battle for the Pass, which kind of checks out because the Daughters do have more bodies on the board. Outside of that, then there are quite a lot of very fast, very high output combat armies. So Joel Graham 4th with a big war. That was actually very Bone Splitters heavy. He had 1 Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, but then he had a Rogue Idol and lots of lads. Yeah. Ryan Hooper in 5th with a 4-1 with Big War. That was a classic sort of Iron Fist, Iron Jaws heavy. Mm-hmm. He came unstuck against Dave Kerr's Knights of the Empty Throne. That was his 1 loss. And then, more of these fast output armies. So we've got an Ogre Maw Tribes, a Boulderhead army. That's a Torbad. Have you ever heard of the Torbad, Rob?
No, not a Yulbad. What the hell?
Not a Yulbad, not a Jawbad or whatever. But this is a Boulderhead Torbad list. His only loss was against Kron's KO in the second round. So he lost with this on Forcing the Hand, which kind of checks out because the missions, the objectives are quite far apart, so it takes a while to get on them. That Torbad list with triple Thunder Tusk Beast Riders, like this feels like a bit of a the Iron Gutsman situation. I feel like that's what we're dealing with here. Like, what the hell is what I'm going to say. So a standout list. Triple Thunder Tusk is mental. Amazing. Like, absolutely incredible that it went 4-1. Because as I understand it, they're hot trash. Like, the ogre players pretty much feel that, so I don't know how that's happened. Is the answer. Yeah. I can tell you what the list is. It's mad. It's a Frostlord on a Stonehorn, Brand of the Svard, Metal Cruncher. This is in Boulderhead. He's then got a Huskard on Thunder Tusk, Shards, so he's got an auto unbind and the Hailstorm. A single unit of 4 Mournfang pack. Yeah, and then 3 Thunder Tusk Beast Riders. So he's basically got 4 Thunder Tusks, a Frostlord on Stonehorn, and a Mournfang pack. 85 wounds of pure Blizzard energy, right?
Okay. All right, yeah, that's that's fine, I guess.
So, Bevan Bond, hero.
Hero, absolutely hero. Like who the fuck? Bevan probably deserves a round of applause. It's probably that's incredibly impressive. Well done, Bevan.
Another more tribes in ninth was Stephen Bynek, which is a bit more of a classic boulderhead Yulbad. He came unstuck against Dave Kerr for his single loss. So Dave Kerr inflicting quite a lot of the single losses on these 4-1s. So he was obviously rocking around the top tables all weekend. And then Anthony Magro, the AOS coach, with the final sort of destruction smash list. This was a Sons of Behemat Breaker tribe, which Takers seem to be the flavour, but I think Breakers, because of the output, must be a bit more fun to play. I know that Gemma Shepherd at the SAGT did well with the Breaker tribe.
Well, so if we put the cards on the table, so 3 Sons of Behemat armies played over the weekend, and they all went 4-1. Is the kind of like the big standout story? I guess you would say here. I would say I think there's like a pin in that in some ways, because I think I don't know if you played against Sons of Behemat. I've played against it a couple of times. I played against my friend Colonel Cabbage. First time I played it, he turned one me. He was just like, I move everything forward. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. Yeah. And the next term, I just stopped that, and then it was game over. So I feel like there's going to be a learning curve. I said this yesterday on the show. Learning curve playing against Sons, and then once you learn how to play it, it's going to be fairly easy to deal with that problem, I'm going to say.
I would say that I agree with you, but whether they're easy to deal with, knowing what something does and stopping it is two different things. You might not have, because they're
a DPS check, right? Like that's what they are. They're a DPS check. I feel like you have to have some weight, but then that's true of the Blight Kings, the Fire Slayers. Like they're that like, can you deal with this amount of wounds this quickly sort of conversation. And I think some armies can and some armies can't. But if you can't, you have stuff inside your list that's meant to try and hold it up, I would say. But we'll see. Yeah.
Well, that's a really interesting point, Rob. That's an excellent segue, because Coach actually failed his DPS check in round 1. So his single loss was against the 160 Nighthaunt Chain Rasps.
Nice.
So he rolled in. So yeah, shifting objectives, and all his opponent did was put 160 battle line on all the objectives and went try and kill that off. So yeah, they failed their own DPS check in that regard. But again, the list wise, it's settled on 3 bigs and then 3 littles in a single unit, and then you've just got 4. You basically just got 4 hammers, haven't you? You've just got 4 things, and you just go and do something with those 4 things.
And the battle plans in this as well. So obviously, Total Conquest is super useful because you get bonus points for leaders that grab the objectives on Total Conquest, right? That works really well for them. And I don't think any of the others. I don't think Forcing the Hand or Shifting Objectives gives you anything extra for monsters or heroes. Shifting Objectives is battle line, right?
Shifting Objectives battle line. So here's a unit of 3. The units of 3 megas that are taken count as battle line. But they're pretty fast, and the impact hits are pretty nasty. Like, I do rate the output, but gate breakers seem to be the way to go. Which, if you put some -1 to hits onto gate breakers, then they aren't as good anymore.
Apologies to everyone in the chat. DPS check stands. It's a wargate. It's an MMO term. Stands for damage per second. Effectively, what we're talking about is it probably should be damage per turn, DPT check, but I'm not ever saying DPT again after this show. I'm never in my life saying that again. But what I'm effectively saying is can you deliver X amount of damage in one place in a turn effectively to remove something, which is normally what the positioning game is about. Some units can do that, some units can't do that. Some armies can't do that. We've seen some armies that just don't have raw output, and they've got more kind of attrition style. DPT check sounds like something you need to do after a drunken one-night stand. I know. Sorry, Owen, you were saying about this?
So that's it. That's our 4-1s. 2 Daughters of Cain Calibron lists, 2 Big Wars, 2 Ogres, a Slaves to Darkness Knights of the Empty Throne Plague Touched, a Sons of Behemat, and then a KO Zilfin with a Vortex and an Ironclad. So that's our 4-1s, which is a really nice mix, isn't it? There, I mean, no Zinch up there, which is a real, no Idoneth, but I don't think there were any Idoneth at the event, were there? In general,
what at this event there were 6.
Oh wow! Okay, all right. Well, yeah. I've obviously done my research, haven't I? Hold on a second.
No, it was crazy. It was like 6 Zinch, 6 Idoneth, 3 Fire Slayers, 3 Daughters of Cain. This is just off the top of my head, so some of these might be a little bit. Well, there were 6 Osiarchs. So actually, like, Destruction doing super well into this is, like, really impressive. Like, ultimately. Like, all of the Destruction players, whatever it is, doing well into that event is genuinely quite impressive because it was, like, a super tough field. And honestly, as someone who does this all day, every day, I don't see how that happens. So, like, cool, you guys are really good, but Australia's a fucking meta anyway. That's how I'll put a pin in it, and I'll be like, cool. I think if you did that same event somewhere else, I don't think you end up with the same results. But then Australians are pretty belligerent. They'll be like, I'm going to fucking win with these things. What are you going to do, Rob? And I'm like, nothing. Just be impressed. And that's what I am. Impressed. You're a bunch of geniuses. That's what I'll say.
So yeah, looking at it, top Zeech was an Eternal Conflagration on with a 3-2, and then there's loads of Ideneth on 3-2s, but they all sit below some rather wonderful, notable performances that I think we need to put a pin in, Rob. We concentrate on those top tables, and that's great. And props to all the guys. I mean, there's some names there that often come up, doing well at these Aussie events. So props to all the guys on the 4-1s. But there's some really nice there's a 3-1-1 and then 2-3-2s that I just wanted to put a pin in, just so if people are collecting these armies and thinking, oh, I'm going to get hammered when I go to a tournament, then no, because this also, Rob, 2 of them have mercenary mega gargants in. Just for you, both gatebreakers. So yeah, notable performances. We've got in a 70-man field. This is one for Nathan. We've got a 13th place Gloomspike Gitz, Will Walters, the legend.
Yes, Will Walters, what a legend! That's amazing. Yeah, we're happy with that. 13th place, 3-1-1, so a draw, 3 wins and a loss. That's amazing. Fuck yeah. Okay, we'll take that.
It's a cool list as well. 120 gobos. So I think he had a block of 60 stabbers and then 3 20s of shooters with some of the supporting cast that's necessary to make all that tick. And then a Gatebreaker Mega Gargant in there. Baby. I think that the Gits outside of Magic, which is obviously they're completely dominated by, I think they do lack a hammer. Obviously the Boingrot Bounders in a Jaws of Mork are a nice hammer, and a Mangler Squigses, but that Gatebreaker Mega Gargant just to go in and pin stuff in. So yeah, he beat Seraphon.
And also, like, it was also tough to take down. Like, a lot of their like hammer pieces, like Loon Boss on Mangler, is like he fucking dies to a fart. Like, so like that's actually a really good pick. Like, so you block them up with a 60. The 60 are also a hammer as well, but like they're also an anvil. They do both, and then you could just like whomp in with a Gatebreaker. Love that. That's lovely. Let's go.
Yeah. So great. I've got a question. Lee Bromley. Yeah, this is the highest Merc Giant list. He beat Seraphon. He beat Khorne Archaon. He beat Lumineth Realm Lords. He had a draw against Caradron Overlords, and his only loss was against Lumineth. So he had no bunny run. We're talking some really tough matches there. So yeah, Will Walters, take a bow, sir.
Yes,
you
Will
are
Walters.
Representing the Gits with aplomb.
We need some sort of like award that we give out for like achievements under duress or something.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a catchier name for next time. We're already making too many names on this show. That's great. What else have you got?
In 14th place, so just one below, we've got a gentleman called Philip Smith, who took a Living City list. What's better than 1 Durthu, Rob?
3?
Yes!
Did he have 3? Fuck off.
Yeah. Triple Durthu in Living City.
No.
And he went 3-2 and came 14th. I'm not sure what was in the rest of the list. If I remember correctly, it's a Battle Mage, 3 Durthus, and then a load of other bits and bobs. He had 20 Sisters of the Watch, 2 units of 10, some Sequitors with maces, some Gyrocopters. It was a brilliant hot mess of loveliness. But the main thing was that he had the Wardroth Horn, which is a great artifact in Living City. Wardroth Horn, once per battle, +1 attack for all Sylvaneth in melee. So you can get those
Spirit of Durthus on some big attack numbers. What, like 3 plus D3 plus 1?
It's going to be 4 each at top profile, and he'll be fighting first with one of them on the charge. So
no D3 because there's no forest is there in the Living City list.
You get a flat 2 when you're near the forest. But still, brilliant result. Well done, Philip. He beat Fire Slayers, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and Nighthaunt, and he came unstuck against Idoneth and Ironjaws.
You beat
And
Fire
then,
Slayers? Holy fucking what the fuck?
and then finally, Jordan Commons,
Yeah.
3-2 with the fucking triple black coach and a Gatebreaker Mega Gargant. What a hero!
Do you know what? Fucking God knows what's happened there. Like, that's incredible. Like, amazing. I guess probably at some point everyone gives up. Let's go for that. No, Jordan, brilliant work. 3 black coaches. Speckles will be super happy. He's currently got 3. Probably him, Jordan, and Speckles, only people in the world who own 3 black coaches. So super happy about that. That's incredibly cool. What did he come? 16th. He won. So he's in the 3 bracket. Okay.
Yeah.
3-2. I mean, 3-2 is incredible. I'd like to point this out. We don't talk about this enough. Is taking I don't know who I was talking to yesterday. Someone they were talking about. They wanted to go from a 2-3 to a 3-2. That's brilliant. Like 2 3s or 3 2s are you are doing really well. Like really well. Anything beyond that, there's So don't worry about it. So yeah, really impressive. That's great. And looked like a really good event as well, right?
Yeah. Look, there's lots of really good hobby going on, and loads of pictures. Obviously, Twitter was a blaze. But yeah, I think also, Rob, we there was a really good list that you liked the look of. I just wanted to check in on that, just to follow up from the list review show.
Yeah.
Nicole Corneef with her Nighthorn.
She went 2 and 3, didn't she? I checked up.
Yeah, 2 and 3 with that real nice MSU list. So yeah, props to Nicole for getting the 2 wins there. Yeah, and like you say, Rob, we get a bit obsessed with 5-0s and what's winning at the top and all this stuff. But going to a tournament and picking up a couple of wins and having a great time. I mean, that's probably the heart and soul of tournament wargaming, really, isn't it? There's only a small proportion of gamey bastards who really, really want to go there and win. Like getting those 2 wins, getting those 3 wins, learning about your army. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I think also that there's something to be said. Looking at the result from Lachlan at the top, and then also talking about Nicole, is taking those early kit drubbins, or just generally practicing and getting to the place where you can mix that list around. Like a Nighthaunt list going 2-3 is actually super impressive before you go any further. As soon as a Nighthaunt list starts going 3-2, I'd be like, oh, wow, this is a genuine conversation. And if it ever went 4-1, I'd be like gobsmacked. So Nicole's done super well there, as has everyone ultimately, because the Vic GT has kicked out some very, very interesting top bracket results. There's 4-1 bracket being very destruction dominated, and even having a Mega Gargant list in there is genuinely weird. It is, because it was a thick field of very strong armies. So fascinated to see more results like that in the future. Ultimately, it'll make me go back and reassess and reevaluate some of those matchups and how I think. But I also think that there are some interesting results. So, loads to learn. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Cool event. So then going over to the SAGT, which had 44 players. And that's where we're over. Again, same thing as we talked about before, Owen. No auxiliary objectives, so just straight wins. The top line, the headline is Gabriel Dello winning with his Slaves to Darkness Ravagers list, which was amazing list. Love this list. I think it's super great. Really happy. Really big fan of this. So I'm going to break down the list for you now. Give me a second to go find it for you. Right, so he had Slaves to Darkness, so he had Ravagers, right? So Ravagers allows each one of your characters to become a general, basically, and have a command trait. Simple as that. And he had it all in the Pleasure-bound, the Runebringer Warband, which was every time you charge, on a 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds. Right? That's what you get for being in a Runebringer. So just have that in your minds, because I think that's actually really important. And then he's got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord and Manticore, Chaos Sorcerer Lord and Karkadrak, Chaos Lord, 2 Chaos Sorcerer Lords. So a full cast of characters with all the command traits. And each one of them can have a command trait, and he's gone for a bunch, which some of them are just they're there, but some of them are super important. Like the Chaos Lord having Flames of Spite, so 6s to hit, doing an additional mortal wound is whatever. But the Chaos Sorcerer Lord's got a cool one. It's got Bolstered by Hate, so you can spend a CP on run basically for free. So that's nice. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Manticore was really put together really nicely. So -1 to hit because of Master of Deception, and then also his aura that you get, because you play Slaves to Darkness, you have a general buff, and then if you're within range of a hero or the general, you end up with a better buff. Although this Sinesh list, and everything's marked Sinesh by the way, is hilarious. Basically everything you could reroll charges in this list 3 times. They're like command ability reroll charges, Sinesh reroll charges, this aura reroll charges. I don't want to, leave me alone. So loads of reroll charges available here. But his range on that aura has been pushed out to 18 inches, which I think is cool. The Karkadrak Lord, one of your favourites, Owen, it had Plate of Perfect Protection on it, and then also had the command trait Eternal Vendetta, which allowed you to reroll wounds, which is super nice. And the rest of the list is a unit of 10 Chaos Knights, 2 units of 5 Chaos Knights, and 2 units of 5 Chaos Marauder Horsemen. Now, I love the Chaos Marauder Horsemen, actually, in the Runebringer, because they've got Retreat and Charge. So, go in, charge, do your D3 mortal wounds. If you've got any Marauders left, move out. And then also, you got a War Shrine as well. And you've just got so many options in here. The reroll saves, I think, is super important on that block of 10 Knights, because it's 30 wounds, which is super good. But there's also some super fun techie spells, where there is... So, Chaos Sorcerer Lord, you've got Whispers of...
Whispers of Chaos.
Whispers of Chaos, yeah. Whispers of Chaos. You roll a dice for each model in the unit. Any 6s cause a mortal wound. If you slay a model, it can't move until your next hero phase is bonkers good. I read it today. I was like, what the fuck? That is... I was like, is that real? That's such a good spell. So good. And I'm sure he used that super well as well. And then he's also got Mask of Darkness, obviously. So yeah, ultimately, I love this list. I think it's super fun, but there's so many ways you're playing it. And I spoke to Sam Morgan, who came second. He happened to play against Gabriel in kind of his path to victory, and said he just played brilliantly. He was just he played super well. He played a really great game, and he played. And you look at the list that went 5-0, and you think, yeah, you're gonna have to play that list. That's got a lot of stuff, right? I really liked it. Did you have any thoughts on the list?
Other than I really liked it, in my mind when I looked at how it played, he's got 2 5s of knights, Chaos Knights with lances, and then he's got a 10 with the ensorcelled weapons. Everything's really fast. I'm visualizing it pinning, and then I'm visualizing it as a sort of pin army, and then he's got 5 units of marauders that can just come on and basically auto charge and harass the backfield, and he's got a lot of threats because it's relatively fast, isn't it?
Go on.
And he has that consistency with the re-rolling of all the charges. He's going to be rolling a lot of dice to get to get those units in. It's got a lot of wounds.
The other thing I forgot to mention, obviously, is each turn in the movement phase is going to be able to summon 10 Marauders. Now, they're not summoned in... So over the course of the game, that's 50 additional Marauders from each one of the characters. Now, that's not going to... they're not going to be in the Runebringer because they're summoned from externally, so they won't get those impact hits, those D3 mortal wounds. But they're just... 10 Marauders are 10 Marauders, right? They're going to make the charge. So, you're safe on that front. And then they can take out a bunch of stuff. So it means while you're dealing with those knights... and even the Manticore Lord and the Kark Lord is kind of like a little monster, right? He's good.
And Mark of Slanesh means that 6s explode in melee. So, something like a Kark Lord's got lots of profiles. The horses, obviously, you've got the mounts and the riders' weaponry, so you've got more opportunities for getting those 6s. And the Kark Lord synergizes really nicely with the knights because he's got a really good command ability that you spend in the hero phase. You get +1 to hit, and I think you get reroll charges from that as well.
You do.
If I'm not mistaken.
You do.
Yeah.
It's there's so many reroll charges. I was like, is there? Because I looked at the Runebringer and I was like, is there more options for retreat and charge? No, just more reroll charges and runs. But it means you're very consistent in getting an entirely combat army into where you want to put it.
And it means that he's got the CP to be able to bring on the Marauders because he's not spending it on re-rolling charges and things of that nature. And then that ties in again with the artifact that allows him to use forward to victory, or re-roll a charge, re-roll a run, or turn a run into a 6. He gets to do that for free again. So he's freeing up all his CP to continue. Because you imagine with those lists, when you get to turn 3 or turn 4 with the Ravagers list, it's like, shit, I really need to put reroll ones to save on my character. Otherwise, he's going to die, and then I'm going to lose that objective. So I'm going to have to spend the CP there, which means I don't have the CP to then bring on the 10 Marauders that might take that objective on the opposite side of the board. It appears with the way that he's built it with a battalion, etc., and all the rerolls, because all he wants to do is charge, blow things up, and then hold things in place and kill them. So he's not having to use any CP to get that off, because he's, as we've said many times, he's re-rolling all his charges. That would be, there's loads of tech in there. Also, like Binding Damnation, I didn't realize how good that is. Like Binding Damnation is a 12-inch range spell. I think it's casting value 7, and it's they fight. The enemy unit fights at the end of the combat phase. That lasts till their next hero phase.
Yeah,
and you can't retreat. That unit can't retreat.
Yeah, it's really so, that plus another spell where you can't move a unit is just horrific. Like so good, so much counterplay. Like you also have to be like really bold with those wizards to get them in range early. But I feel that's what the 10 Knights are for. I feel like the 10 Knights aren't a smash unit. I feel like that they were like a screen, and they just ran all the characters up behind it or around it, and then you would just bring the Marauders on, and you'd be like, cool, you're not moving now, you're not fighting till the end, let's retreat some stuff, let's do some more impact hits, let's do some more damage. Honestly, fascinating list. Like, loads in there, and super fun. Yeah, I loved it. I think it's super cool. And it's also Mark Sinesh, so Sinesh are brilliant now. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, they're not as redundant as the amount of redundant charge rolls he's got on his list.
So many charge rolls. All he wanted to do was charge.
Yeah.
Right, so talking about the 4-1 bracket, so Sam Morgan in second place with his death. There's mixed death, and I'll talk about the list in a minute. Oceark Bone Reapers in third. They're still in the 4-1 bracket. Michael Crichton, amazing human being, with his Seraphon in Thunder Lizards. And then Alex Morris with Sons of Behemat, Breaker Tribe. Wayne Buck with Idneth. And then also Gemma. Big shout out to Gemma Lover from the Failed Charge with her Breaker Tribe, Sons of Behemat as well. So I guess the big takeaway there ultimately is no chaos in the 4-1 bracket. The order that you expect to see in Seraphon, obviously, and Idneth. The Sons of Behemat, completely unexpected in that 4-1 bracket. Not expected to be there at all. So congratulations to both players in that matchup. And then also, Sam, really, with that mixed death list is just wildness at the end of the day. Again, going 4-1. And he only lost to Gabriel.
Really?
Yeah, so his only... Yeah, so that was his only loss. So he played, and then he had to go up against our boy Liam with his DOK, new DOK, to end up in second place. So Sam's list is super interesting. It's a mixed death list. Now, I'll just talk about it quickly, and you guys can go back and listen to him talk about it on the show from previous weeks. Yeah, just go back to search Sam Morgan. It should be there. So he's got 3 lots of 10 zombies is his baseline, a Necromancer, a Vampire Lord, a Knight of Shrouds on a Serial Steed, and also Guardian Souls of the Nightmare Lantern. And he's got that 20 Hex Wraiths, the 5 Hex Wraiths, and those 20 Bladegeist Revenants, and another unit 5 in the Dolorous Guard and then the Shroud Guard. And again, if you go back and listen to Sam talk about it, he can just stack so many attacks on those Bladegeist, on those Hex Wraiths. He can do so much output. He can bring so much back, and he can control the board so much. And that's why that list did so well. And again, only losing to the winner. It's pretty impressive. Like for a list a list out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, and another list I would say, which is pretty, it's a faction you see a lot, and there does seem to be a lot of Ossiarch Bone Reapers players in Australia, I must say. But somebody coming in with a list that you wouldn't see very often was Michael Wood. I did have one of the players in one of the groups I'm in message me and go, I have a newfound respect for Mortek Guard. So yeah, Michael Wood in third. He took Catacross, Arcan, 100 Mortek Guard, 40, 40, 20. No battalions, no extra spells, no harvesters, no crawlers. Just
Just
put
lads on the ground.
I mean, yeah, I think we do have to we have to make note of the pack. When you think about the sort of lists that have done well, I wouldn't say that Sam's list and Gabrielle's winning list tie into this, but things like 100 Mortek Guard or the two Sons of Behemat lists, they will do well onto shifting objectives, Blade's Edge, focal points, total conquest even.
Feels like focal points is almost an auto win, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you have no monsters, you could score your 2 back in the middle, so you're sat on 4. The Gargants don't even have to move, and they're like, cool, I'm on 4-2. Like, so as soon as they take the center once, like, it's like game. I mean, not that many other lists don't include a monster or a behemoth inside them as well, but like, you're already. I feel like focal points is a significant advantage to Sons of Behemoth specifically, right?
Yeah, definitely, and then that does mean it makes Sam and Gabriella's performances over the weekend, really impressive, because they don't have. I mean, I doubt the Chaos Lord on Manticore is a Behemoth, and I doubt Sam hasn't got anything in his list which is a Behemoth. So they're not necessarily getting any extra points just because of the way that the mission pack is. Yeah, exactly. Playing their hearts out. But yeah, props to everyone there. And then there's also Wayne Buck with a quite a classic 7x3 eel list, but he had 2 Leviatons in there and in Domhain, not in Fuethan, Rob. But yeah,
I love the double Leviathan now. Like, I'll get smashed off the table all day by a double Leviathan. Super okay with me that's good in the game. Looks cool. It's super like emotive. Like these giant turtles, super into it. Like, I think like they're really, really good. It's kind of why I'm very surprised by the Vic GT result and that we haven't seen more. Again, the Leviathans, like you were talking about, play super well into some of those battle plans as well. Like, also add something to the Ideneth army, which they previously didn't have in competitive gaming. Well, sorry, in competitive matchups. So they've got these monsters now with the monster keyword. They can go grab extra points. They can do extra things, and I think that's actually. I think Leviathan stonks are like through the roof. Like buy them now is what I'd say if you didn't already have them. I'm sure everyone who had an Ideneth army had one. They were just like, one day, my pretty. James, thank you for subscribing. Big love to you. Some notable performances. You had one that you had picked out, Owen.
Yeah, I think he knew that he was going to be playing the weekend certainly on hard mode. I mean, and this is Simon Hall coming in 10th, a 3-2. He had a couple of rough matchups, I believe. But yeah, Simon Hall taking, he is Mr. Cities of Sigmar really at this stage of the Aussie meta. So yeah, grey water fastness with triple steam tank. And yeah, he got a 3-2 out of that, a high 3-2, like top of the 3-2s in 10th place. So yeah, triple. He had 2 steam tanks, one with and then a third with a commander. He had a Lord Ordinator, and then all the usual stuff you'd expect to see in a cities list. So Gyrocopter, Hurricanum, Rune Lord, 30 Iron Drakes, and Laushon the Soul Seeker. Laushon popping up there. So moving forward, those Iron Drakes, bit different from the sort of Soul Scream Bridge vibe, but I just think not many bodies, not huge amounts of mobility there. So to get to get 3 wins in quite a tough field was props to Simon. So well done, Simon.
Yeah, a big props to him. I want to shout out Andrew Shepherd. Only 2 wins, but with Sylvaneth, I'll take that all day. With his Gnarl route, 2 wins. Lords of the Clan, Forest Folk, like, big fan of that. Like, I think that should be applauded, because you're already walking in you're like, oh, this is rough. It's already Sylvaneth, and then just to come out to 2-3, I think is super happy. Like, I'd be happy with that. I really would. So I think he should be super happy with that as well. So overall, great weekend. It looks like loads of fun games, and hopefully more and more to come in the future. Talking about events that are ongoing now. Is our Butcher's Tribe TTS event, right? Organised by Pask. I mean, are you up to date with this?
Yes, I am. I'm up to date with it because we've been my team's been knocked out, unfortunately. Fiction.
Oh my god! I've just noticed.
Yeah, we gone. I had possibly no fault of my opponent, but I got bust into Zinch, and I lost, and I didn't have a turn, Rob. I didn't have a turn.
Now you're gonna have to walk me through it, because you can't say an incendiary sentence like that and leave me hanging. So what happened? Remind everyone what you're running first.
Okay, so Places of Arcane Power, right?
Yeah.
So shit mission.
Shit mission.
And I'm playing Petrifex. So 2 40 Mortec, 40 Mortec, 10 Mortec, 2 Bone Shapers, a Liege, 2 Catapults. Quite simple. And I was facing off against. It wasn't Flamers Moon Tyranid. It's an amazing list, Rob. I'm going to send you the list. It's amazing. If anybody wants to play Zinch and not play Change Host, Flamers, or not play Archeon, this was Hosts Arcanum with Kairos and a Lord of Change, and a Change Caster and the Blue Scribes, along with 10 pinks, 2 Exalted Flamers, and some blues and brims to fill out a Change Host. And then he had Balewind, and he had Pendulum, and he had Portals. And the long of the short of it is, Rob, I spent like a day trying to practice my deployment to make it a balance between putting some threat onto the objectives, but also not getting all my characters killed turn 1. And I got my calculations incorrect. And Kairos Gift of Change after Bone Shaper, 6 mortal wounds, and then the other through stuff like Eternal Gateway through a portal did 7 mortal wounds to the Liege, and that's at 45-inch range. He could change his teleport the change caster, then 3d6 the roll to get. Yeah, and like the options were just like galaxy brain time. Like he had 45-inch threat range on Gift of Change turn 1, which is pretty horrible, right? Because
all he has to do is take out your characters and to win the game.
Yeah, and I probably didn't play as well as I should have done. And then unfortunately, Matt Goldsborough, we played ours each Change Host. This is 4, so I can't complain because we had a similar list. We had 40 pinks in Host Duplicitous with a Lord of Change, and yeah, we were unfortunate. We took Volturnus down to 2 wounds on turn 1. You know, he's got a 3-up spell mirror. We did Internal Gateway or Infernal Gateway through the portal and did 7 mortal wounds to him, and he saved 1. So yeah, props to the Bad Moon Loons. We won the first game, so we were 1-0 up. But we unfortunately we weren't able to get an extra win. And they went through.
I'm just gonna say one of the main problems you're playing a Super Series team there, Owen. Like they're gonna know what they're doing. Like let's be honest. I'm joking. Yeah, that sounds rough. So they basically just took out all your characters turn 1, couldn't deploy, and then you can't. It's a terrible mission at the end of the day. Terrible.
Yeah, it was awful, but I could have played better. I mean, I had 2 catapults, and I thought that I'd got the balance correct. Unfortunately not. So congrats to those guys. That's Matt Grace, Matt Goldsborough, and Daniil with the Bad Moon Loons. They're facing off against the Angry Alpacas. I did see the last game in that. So the Alpacas, the Russian team, their Legion of Grief list won out on Places of Arcane Power against an Ogre's list. Bringing back 40 Blade guys for 2 CP and killing everything was really good. It seemed it was mental, so mental. And then making them fight twice with a Necromancer. Grief.
I like how the ability to bring entire units back has somehow fallen out of like people are like, is that still good? It's like still good, still really good. Just gonna put that out there. People are like, probably not. I probably won't play that. I'm like, okay, it's still really good though. Seraphoni's smashed it up.
They did indeed. They were through quite quickly. That's an American team. They beat out against Team SYM. So that's Steve Follows and Lewis and Scrubby Dave's team. They've now been drawn into Team Bin. So the sort of rematch, Bin versus Fiction in the finals. We let down Luke and the boys, unfortunately, so we don't get that rematch. But yeah, Team Bin, they're playing against the Seraphonis now in their semis. So if I was to make a prediction, I'm going to go. Sorry to Matt and the Bad Moon Loons, but I think it's going to be Bin versus the Alpacas. which is
Okay.
effectively elements of the England ETC team mixed
Versus the
in
Russian ETC
versus
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so big energy there. So yeah, that's really hotting up. And then the world's AOS teams. I think we've got round one kicking off soon. I think I saw a thing come up in the corner of my screen earlier, Rob, and
Yeah.
it said World's AOS teams round one versus Alan joins. So I think I might be playing versus the lovely Alan, who's a player of note.
Did you listen to our discussion about the team comp the other day? It's okay if you
Possibly.
didn't. Yeah, no, just interesting, like how you feel about the meta, and it's like what I was just going to get you quick thoughts on the fact that like the meta is very specific, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Oh God, no, I did see the show that you did with Adam. Yeah. It's pretty wild. I think, yeah, I'll be interested to see who wins out there because there's lots of the same stuff, right? So it does come down to player skill at the end and getting the pairings right. I think when you have a meta like that, it makes the pairings super important. Yeah, that's it. So
That's the ongoing. So Butchers, we'll see how that ends up. Teams kicking off, and we've got some upcoming events.
We do. So this weekend, is it this weekend? What date is it today?
No. 2 weekends.
So we got 2 weekends time. It's like all the tournament organisers knew that it was like the Honest Wargamer weekend this weekend. So they're like wanted to keep it free, no
Appreciate
clashes. Appreciate you very much. So yeah, we've got we've got a Russian tournament, 27th, 28th. We mentioned it last week in Yekaterinburg. So 72 players, and then 27th of March, Grand Hammer, which is a new TTS one-dayer. Sign-ups are open, and they've got 62 players for a one-dayer, Rob.
Whoa, that's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's a note there saying somebody's asking for the lists for the Butchers tournament. I'm going to put that in there. I'll put that in there for you now. Give me a second. And then I've got something coming up, haven't I, Rob?
You have Hammer Time 8. The announcement is out. So 128 players is what we're aiming for. It's going to be super fun. We obviously are going to do the live coverage. So if you've ever wanted me to sassily talk over the top of your game, this is the opportunity. That is, if there is ever a reason to buy in, that's the one, I'm going to say. So yeah, that's the 17th and 18th of April. So the link is in the chat. We'll put the link in the show notes as well, but you should sign up. And how many have you got so far, Owen?
So far, we've got 60 people. I'm going to put a link in the chat now. So far we've got 60 people, all sorts of players popping up. It's nice. When I see the names coming in, it's like, you've never been. So I've got Pete Pratt and some of the Irish lads are playing. Collie Cochrane's playing again, and Shane. So yeah, it's been nice to see some old faces and some new players coming to the tournament. So it's also the first ever 2-dayer, Rob. I haven't done a 2-dayer before. So
you did 2 1-dayers back to back. That counts.
Okay, that counts.
That counts. Tell you what, I'm going to start doing some push-ups now. Get ready for it. That 2-day energy is oof. I don't know if any of the Aussies are in the chat from the weekend and how you're feeling today. I mean, you're always elated the day after a tournament, but then you're like, God, I'm tired. Like in the bones, tired. So that 2-day energy is something we're all going to have to get back. What's making me laugh is a lot of the English events have started to sell tickets, and people are like, I'm doing 3 weekends in a row. And I was like, I can't wait to see how knackered you are after the first one. Yeah? By the third one, they'll be like, oh, God, I am tired.
Somebody get me a chair. Get me a chair now.
We're all going to have to build that energy back up, gents. And ladies, of course. Amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's in April. So that's in about a month's time. So if you guys want to sign up, that's about right. Yeah, about a month's time. So Owen in the TTS tournament says Gorka Morka in this pandemic era have become the stuff of wargaming legend, in my opinion. And I would agree. Owen, you do a great service to the community, I would say. And it's really useful. I mean, imagine if we'd gone into the results from this Australian weekend, yeah, and those were the results we'd had for like a year, basically. We'd be like, oh, fucking hell. Like, what? This is impressive. But thankfully, we haven't had to use just that for our analysis. So thanks very much. You guys, you're great. This is my clap. So thanks, Owen. You got any shout-outs before we head out today?
No. No, I don't think so. I think we're good. I'm not sure, really. I'll just shout at everybody. I don't have any one particular person I think's great. I think you're all great and continue to be great. And yeah, don't be hard on yourself. Life's a bit crap at the moment. So if you want to go and buy some toys because it makes you happy, then fucking do it, okay? That's my shout out, all right? Go buy some models. Have fun. My
advice would be to air guitar. Like, just or put on some disco tunes. So you guys don't know this. I'm going to let you in a little behind the scenes now. So whenever Owen calls me Monday, which is always such a joy, he's always got some disco tunes on in the background when we like start the Skype call. Gets me right in the mood. So can I just say 11 out of 10. Also, shout out to Periscope, the premier Owen Jackson viewing platform.
Yes, Matt, I appreciate that. It's because when I'm out and about on the move, you need to know that I'm still in love with you guys and still watching. That's it. So if anyone wants to come over and join the Periscope posse when you're out and that's what we are, man. When you're out and about, you're doing your thing. You've got to earn a little bit of money. You're here, there, and everywhere. And shit, it's 12 o'clock. I'm not at home for the show. Then you just, don't worry about your computer. Just get that little phone out your pocket. Get on Twits. Become part of the Periscope posse. Just do a few random messages to Rob in capitals to see if he notices. And he will. He will notice.
Yeah, there's agreed. Listen, thanks to everyone who played games at the weekend to give us something really fun to talk about. Congratulations to everyone. You've obviously done a smasher. So congratulations to anyone, win or lose, in that setup. Thanks to everyone watching live. You guys are great. Don't forget to join us tonight. Me, Nathan, Dan, and James talking Ogre More Tribes. That's right. That'll be the next podcast. Hydro Homies. I've been thinking recently I'm not giving you enough of a shout out. So I hope you guys are doing super well. Like, just right now, just in your ears, I want you to know I love you. Yeah? And like, just go look in a mirror and just tell yourself you're great because you are great. And that's it. That's it for today. Patreon guys, obviously. Thank you for actually subscribing and making it so I could live. I love you so much. I don't really talk about you too much in case I upset any of you. I'm like, from the bottom of my heart, you guys are great. Join us later. It's going to be great. Owen, you're a delight. And I should go. Let's get out of here. Go on, give me a catchphrase or something we can end on.
Man, you can't put me on the spot like that. How about we just go, we out of here.